This is the Troll Patrol. Live. With Justin. Freakin.
The false start tonight was actually my fault. It wasn't the internet this time. It had signed me out of the chat. So I had to go and sign back into the chat. I had to select, what is a fire hydrant, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, happy school shooting day, Warlord. I'm not gonna make it through this. Let's go ahead and tell you that fucking I'm not in a good space right now, but we do have breaking news. Herschel Walker is the projected winner of the Republican Senate primary in Georgia. As you can see on the screen, they are awaiting remarks from President Biden about the horrendous school shooting in Texas. I'm not gonna make it through this. I'm sorry. This has hit me hard. I've been all fucking week. I've been like, this has been the greatest birthday week ever. And I can't get on here and be all happy and shit and like fucking Better Call Saul's season finale was one of the things I was raving about. It was amazing. It lived up to all of the hype. But goddamn, this is one of those things that's put me in a shitty headspace today. Those of you who don't know, at least 14 people dead. Most of them elementary school students in Texas. We're going to talk about that. Because that was tonight's meme, by the way. That was tonight's meme. Not really a meme. It's just multiple Onion headlines saying no way to prevent this, says only nation where this regularly happens. Another day in mass shooting USA. And I've got my fucking my funny graphic. Hey kids, remember, shoot up drugs, not schools. Ain't nobody listening to me though, apparently. And to make matters worse, the kid, he was a student at the school. The kid has a Hispanic last name. So of course the racists are already going wild with it. God damn. Call me muffins. Who are you? Who are you? Calling me muffins. What? Only my friends call me muffins. Lazy Eyes, Warlord, welcome. Good evening. Has RB checked in yet? No RB. He'll be here shortly. Weed! Sparkles. Welcome. Rathlisberger in the lead in the Secretary of State race in Georgia. Christian White. Apparently those are two last names and not the makeup of the electorate in Georgia. We're gonna, as we do, as we do on election night, we're gonna get the rundown on what we're gonna be watching, and then we're gonna do the news for the evening. But it seems like President Joe Biden is gonna be speaking on the Texas school shooting, which is my top story tonight, of course. So we'll stick here with the Washington Post until we get Biden's remarks. I mean, what the fuck is he gonna say? He ain't gonna say anything that's gonna matter. Nobody's gonna do anything that's gonna matter. Chris Murphy already out saying, I can get 10 Republicans to vote for legislation. No, you can't. You're full of shit. Fuck off. You can't. Kiss my ass. I'm sorry, this is horrible to me. Raphael Warnock, the projected winner, no surprise there. I'm out of weed. Stacey Abrams, the projected winner, she was running unopposed. I'll scrape together some resin. Actually, I copped a buzz before I got on here. I was smoking with Jesse. Looks like Kemp leading over Purdue. Only about 17% of the vote counted. Gonna be no surprise that Kemp is more than likely going to win. Purdue is a loser. Purdue, of course, backed by Donald Trump. Kemp, who was a hardcore Trumper, but just, wasn't Trumpy enough when it come to overturning the 2020 election. Even though there was nothing fucking Brian Kemp could fucking do, Trump took it out on him. I guess here we'll listen in on the Washington Post. Maybe I'll try to scrape together a bowl. Has Purdue declared victory yet? Good one.
Is really about this question of election integrity and denying the lies, or are there other motivating factors to vote for those two?
Well, like I said, Raffensperger has tried to thread a needle.
I don't care. I can't focus on that at the moment. That's another thing. I do a political talk show, and it's an election day, and the only thing on my mind is those poor babies that were gunned down. Apparently it's gonna storm now. I'm hearing thunder. There's actually another Washington Post feed. Let's go to it. They're covering the shoot. Hey, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, kids. On my birthday week, I was having such a great birthday week. I was getting on here every night like, oh, it's been the greatest birthday week ever. Gotta fucking cover yet another mass shooting. Dennis. I do have a dude that said he was gonna call in today, didn't I? On the Twitter. Is that who you're referring to? Because we haven't had any calls yet. I guess they're not live anymore here. They were on the scene. We'll go to local, a San Antonio news source here.
I think it's fair to say that one aspect of the results that we've seen so far tonight is likely to carry through to the end, which is that,
as we've been saying, the death toll has risen to 18 children.
Oh, God!
And 3 adults killed. 3 adults are also in serious condition. The federal law enforcement officials expect that death toll may even climb. The gunman entered Robb Elementary School in Uvalde with a handgun and possibly a rifle. Officials did not immediately reveal a motive, but the governor has identified the assailant as Salvador Ramos, said he was a resident of Uvalde. Now,
he is a U.S. citizen. He was a student at the school.
Nearby when the shooting began,
the shooter is dead.
The school without waiting for backup.
I think
and killed the gunman, who was behind a barricade. This, according to a law enforcement official speaking on the condition of anonymity. The agent was wounded, and we had heard that earlier. Was wounded but able to walk out of the school. Law enforcement officers say. So that Border Patrol agent who was wounded is rushed in without any backup and shot and killed Ramos, the gunman, who now we know has killed 18 children and 3 adults.
Well, that Border Patrol agent.
Okay, so that number does not include the.
Think about how many other lives he saved, and we did also hear
the shooter. It's possible, Warlord, that like the high school was across the street or some shit like that, or the high school was down the street.
For the next few days for this,
and they were part of the same school system.
Tragic and senseless event. He said at 10 a.m. tomorrow there will be grief counselors at the Civic Center, not only for
grief counselors.
staff, as well as community members. They welcome everyone there.
I don't mean to mock
Rob staff of
mental health and
They are
the
to
job that
report
grief
there to the
counselors
Civic
do.
Center
I
at
just
8
like
a.m. because of course Rob Elementary School is still a very active investigation scene, and of course UCISD, the school year is over.
Just we need more than grief counselors and thoughts and prayers.
Graduation is on hold. They will let those seniors know at a later date when that will be held, but really that's not on the minds of anyone right now, he said. And the teachers who are at the other campuses, other elementary school, other high school, junior high, they're to report to their campuses.
Yeah, so the school is split into multiple campuses.
UCISD as well.
And we are showing you aerial pictures from Chopper 5 of Robb Elementary School, the scene of horror today and continuing horror this evening. San Antonio Fire Chief Charles Hood is inside the school. We saw him walking in with parents, law enforcement inside the school where we presume many of the victims are still inside. And it is an active crime scene investigation. The police in Uvalde, the
I'm not sure the exact time this happened, but it was like 4 or 5 hours ago, possibly.
Notified. Just terrible to think that some families still don't know.
A lot of families still searching for children, which is horrifying. But we also did hear that the
Cisneros up on Cuellar in Texas
as well as
by a wide margin, but still
the only police department
a small percentage of the vote in. That is one of the races we're going to be watching tonight.
CISD Chief of Police Pete Arredondo, and of course the school district superintendent.
Right. We've only heard from the school district police, not from the sheriff or Uvalde police there. And we've been told DPS is heading that up, and then the Texas Rangers.
This is live with a San Antonio news organization.
Yeah, so just a very sad situation. We also have several
KENS, Channel 5.
Right now at Sacred Heart Catholic Church, there is one being held currently, and then at 8 p.m. there will be another mass across town at Church of Christ. There's another memorial service being held. We have crews at both of those scenes. They say a lot of people from the community just, looking to lift those victims up.
Still waiting for President Biden to speak.
Archbishop Gustavo is in Uvalde right now. San Antonio doing all
on this story.
SAPD, Bexar County Sheriff's Office. We just heard from Mayor Ron Nierenberg, who's been in contact.
It is fucking storming here now, apparently.
Whatever we can to that community of 16,000 people to help in any way that we can. The American Red Cross said they were sending the Salvation Army rather, sending a canteen to help feed all the first responders who've been there all day long, probably without food or much to drink, on the scene helping.
Absolutely, and
I don't.
Earlier today, all flags were to be flown at half-staff on order of the president, we are waiting to hear from just shortly here. And he also extended a hand of help to Governor Abbott in any way that he can for this small Texas community.
Yes, and
once again, this should have been a night where we're celebrating a win in Texas with
to address the nation on this.
Jessica Cisneros, hopefully taking out a shitty-ass Democrat by the name of Henry Cuellar.
80 miles west of San Antonio.
But instead,
our neighboring communities, they're not unfamiliar with this type of tragedy. We had Sutherland Springs.
I'm sorry, I'm at a loss.
Still very fresh for a lot of people, and we've seen how that really affected that small town and how those family members are still grieving. So we can only imagine how these families are going to be feeling, and the community is just hoping to wrap their arms around them with
Cisneros up by a significant margin with
what else can we
about 30% of the votes counted.
From Henry Ramos, that's what a lot of these people are just asking for. Just lift them up in prayer. And if you want to do something physically to help, the Blood Center, the South Texas Blood Center, is also asking for donations of blood. They could use them for those victims, or there's always a shortage. And even tomorrow in Uvalde, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m., there will be a blood drive at Herbie Ham Activity Center. If you feel the need to help, there's there's one way you can do it.
Yes, that is a very concrete way you can help. San Antonio has also sent 25 liters of blood there to the hospital to help. 13 children were taken there wounded to help with that, but they do need more blood. We have 4 people being treated here in San Antonio, a 66-year-old woman and a 10-year-old girl at University Health, both in critical condition. 2 other adults are being treated at BAMC, and we do not know their condition.
Yes. But we do know that, again, that death toll has been updated. 18 students, 3 adults, 21 total. Just that number just takes your breath away.
It does. And those 18 children.
And it's possible that's not the last of them.
2nd grade and 4th grade. You know, we're talking about 7 to 10-year-old children. Just horrible.
Babies.
Terrible, terrible. Columbine, we know that there was 15 deaths in Columbine.
I can't remember the exact
13.
number.
There were
Of course,
13.
Okay.
Is the deadliest
we've just gotten word.
grade school shooting.
Vanessa Croy has an update for us.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, Sandy Hook
Vanessa?
with 27.
Deborah, we're here with Lieutenant Chris Olivares with DPS. He's going to tell us a little bit more about what he's learned that happened out here at Robb Elementary today. And Lieutenant Olivares, we've just learned that 18 students have been killed.
Right, Vanessa. So first I want to acknowledge the brave men and women of law enforcement that showed up to the scene, that actually were involved in the scene, that actually made entry into this school and saved more lives. That, of course, we lost 18. But I want to praise those brave men and women of law enforcement. Also, offer our condolences.
Welcome, RB. Sorry if I'm not ecstatic.
The entire Uvalde community. So what we do know right now,
he was an 18-year-old. He went to the high school there. He has a Hispanic-sounding last name, so the racists are already claiming he was here illegally.
Local law enforcement received a call of a crash and a man with a gun nearby where the school's at. At that point, local law enforcement responded to the school. The suspect made entry into the school, and as soon as he made entry into the school, he started shooting children, teachers, whoever was in his way. He was shooting everybody. We had, of course, as I mentioned, brave law enforcement made entry into that school, exchanged gunfire with a suspect who was wearing body armor. Several police officers were shot. At that point, we did have a tactical law enforcement team arrive on scene. They made entry. They were also met with gunfire by the suspect, but they were actually able to shoot the suspect, and now the suspect is deceased. As of right now, we do have 18 children confirmed that are deceased, as well as 2 adults, one of those being a teacher from the school.
And we've also heard word that Border Patrol agent was struck with gunfire, a few officers shot. We've heard that some law enforcement officers actually went into school to get their kids out. Can you talk about that?
Right, so we do know, Vanessa, right now that there was some police officers, families trying to get their children out of the school because it was an active shooter situation.
Trying to get their children out?
And of course, just as we mentioned, the loss of life, it's just terrible. It's a terrible tragedy now that took place.
Herschel Walker is indeed the Republican nominee
that met this suspect
in Georgia.
We know that they were met with gunfire. Some of them were shot. But at the end of this, the suspect was shot and is now deceased. The threat is now neutralized.
And we're hearing his home was less than a mile away from here. Did you find
he lived close to the school.
Ammunition? We've heard maybe a backpack in the school or at his home.
So what we do know right now, Vanessa, is that the suspect was armed with a long rifle. We are working with ATF, FBI, multiple law enforcement agencies here on.
Yeah, they said suspected rifle, but I just don't know how you go into a school with a handgun and get that kind of a body count
behind this mass shooting.
And we've seen parents out.
You're gonna have to reload and shit. Like, fuck, these are not the kind of things I want to think about.
We have local law enforcement out working with the families, contacting the families as well. Also those that have lost children. We do have some type of victim services involved as well to try to meet with these families and comfort them in this time of need right now. So I think we're now as a community that we need to acknowledge this and have prayers for these families, these victims that are lost right now.
Where does the investigation go now?
So it's still an active investigation. We have multiple agencies. Texas Rangers right now are the leading. As well as
I'm concerned by the fact that he said that law enforcement went into the school to get their own children out, while there are still parents that don't even know at this moment in time the safety of their children. So, in a situation where I thought that I'd actually be able to praise law enforcement for once, still, it seems they fucked up and did some shitty shit. God.
DPS officer about how they approached the gunman with a tactical squad. And of course, we already heard that the Border Patrol agent who rushed in without backup and was shot in the leg, and he also opened fire on the gunman, who was armed, we've just learned, with a long rifle.
Yes, and that suspect, Salvador Ramos, 18-year-old, said to be a local there in Uvalde, of course, again, killed by that DPS Border Patrol agent who showed up there on the scene when he heard what was going on.
Finally, fucking Border Patrol has been useful
to try and help save lives, and he did. He took that shooter down.
Well, as you said, a true hero.
Yes.
A true hero, running into gunfire like that and saving lives.
And right now we are still waiting on President Biden, who was expected to speak to the nation here in just a few minutes. We are waiting. He did earlier today order all flags to be flown.
So that's what we're waiting on now, and then we'll get to election coverage. We've also got a few other stories we're going to talk about.
At Robb Elementary School.
Like the ISIS plot to assassinate George W. Bush.
Whether it was in the classroom, whether it was in the gym, we do know a 10-year-old girl was killed. Another 10-year-old girl is in critical condition. A 9-year-old was injured. So
we're going to talk about the Indiana pastor who admitted to adultery, but did not say that he was raping a kid.
So I don't know if the gunman was in that area or someplace.
I don't know if he went out in front of the congregation yesterday. It was like, well, I committed adultery. Didn't tell him it was a kid.
It's hitting close to home, and when they hear that over the scanners, or they get those.
Got insane video of a tornado out of Texas yesterday.
And how great that is that they were able to pull some of those kids to safety.
Yes.
All right, and we lost our look right now at Robb Elementary School.
She was having trouble with her MiFi.
Memorial services going on, Sacred Heart Catholic
when we were
Church
checking in with her.
One right now, and we want
exactly, Flash. That's just their fucking job. I get so upset when I hear stories about, oh, well, the cops did this. It's their fucking job.
The way these events unfolded today, we know that the shooter had a long rifle and was quickly taken down, but unfortunately was able to get into the school that you see behind me and take, now we know, 20 lives, and including one life from earlier today. So obviously a rather massive death.
Yeah, he apparently shot his grandmother on his way to the school.
About it.
That would be one of the 3 adults.
Still ongoing. We know that they're looking for anything around the area. It appears the shooter was only a couple of blocks away, lived only a couple of blocks away, and so.
Well, he did indeed attend the high school, I do believe.
We don't know exactly how these events unfolded, aside from the fact that he was able to get into the school and open fire, and that's unfortunately. Headline here.
They're having trouble. My internet's bouncing back and forth.
Tragic news, and that death toll.
Yeah, what the fuck indeed, RB? What the fuck?
Behind me here at Robb Elementary, there are a number of officers, law enforcement, walking around a little bit, just sort of taking the lay of the land at the moment. I'm going to step out of the shot and give you a look right now at Robb Elementary. You can see the welcome sign there at the front. It looks like some folks in suits.
And this is like what, one of the last days of school there?
Take in what they can see.
They would have been on summer break within a few days, right? Like fucking horrendous.
The lay of the land and the events in what sequence they happened earlier today. We brought you lots of updates on this one. We, of course, kept you up to speed about the patients in San Antonio being treated there.
And I feel so, any of you that have kids, I feel so sorry for you guys.
Taken to the hospital as we speak.
To have kids that you're sending off to school in this environment.
Comments from the president as reaction.
I do not envy you.
Lawmakers across the United States, of course, including the state of Texas and some of our local officials as well. But all eyes are going to be on the White House tonight to see what President Joe Biden has to say about this. For now, we'll send it back to you guys at the desk.
Matt, earlier, about an hour ago, we saw San Antonio Fire Chief Charles Hood go into the school with what appeared to be some parents. Have you seen any families going into the school? Have you seen anyone coming out?
Not at this point right now, Deb, and we just got here about 15 minutes ago. But right now, everyone sort of seems to be gathered around the perimeter of the building. We have asked to speak with Chief Hood. We are sort of waiting on trying to understand what his schedule is going to be like and what he's doing at the moment.
I'm so sorry for these reporters having to do this.
Some of the law enforcement officials
with a straight face
walking behind me at the moment, all sort of gathered talking to each other. There's not a dramatic sense of urgency at the moment, just sort of rehashing the events of today, I'm sure. Deb.
All right, Matt, thank you. And we do want to clarify 18 children killed, 3 adults. One of those adults, a teacher. One we think is the gunman's grandmother, the 18-year-old's grandmother, and the third is the gunman. Those 3 adults.
Okay, so the 3 did include the gunman.
On the tragedy in Uvalde, we're expecting him to speak any minute now, around 7:30. We're hoping to hear from him. But for now, I want to give you an update again from UCISD. They spoke a little bit earlier about the process, what's going to take place in the district in the next few days. So they said right now the school year is done for all of the students.
Yep.
And they are expecting
good.
Counselors at 10 a.m. tomorrow. At
Yep. Go ahead and shut it
Henry
down.
Ramos, who has been at Uvalde Memorial Hospital for the last few hours. Henry, anything new on those injured?
Yeah, Audrey and Deborah,
we can try
not
maybe
so much. I've been reaching out to the hospital and I haven't heard anything yet. The only thing that which we do know that we have been reporting is the 13 children that have been brought here. I can tell you things are a lot quieter here at the hospital than what we've seen since I've been out here since after 2:30 this afternoon. We actually don't see law enforcement presence on this side. We had some family members that were parked across the street, which is where we're located. Some have been arriving, but really there's not many left here in the parking lot. But of course, throughout the afternoon, just talking to people who have been arriving, and it's just been a tell of different stories with them as we await, of course, for President Biden to join us and to address the nation, rather. So speaking with these people,
are you guys having any issues with the stream? Do I need to hop on another server?
Some of the children there at Robb
It's bouncing back and forth, but it's
we still have some that are
not going all the way out. It seems,
if you can't even say that word, that their loved one survived. I mean, speaking to a grandmother who said her grandson was just grazed in the leg, was able to walk out with police officers. You had another grandmother whose grandson was pulled out of the window from his own father, her son-in-law. But then, of course, you know, as speaking with these grandmothers and some of the residents here that have showed up even just to look at the hospital and just pray, because that's what this community is about. I mean, some just had no connection here. They have a connection in the sense that this is their community. And so they just came out here just to look at the hospital, and they just said, you know, if that's what I can do as of right now, then I'm gonna come here and pray. And that's what some people have done. Even speaking with the former secretary of Robb Elementary, she was a secretary there for over 20 years. Her husband was a principal there. She had a son that went there. She said that's home for her, a place.
For those of you who missed the meme of the day, it wasn't really a meme.
Just interviewing her, she was so.
It was just multiple Onion headlines, all saying no way to prevent this. This is the only nation where this regularly happens.
It was hard to even just tell me, you know, of what she's feeling as she lives just 3 blocks away here from the hospital. She said, Henry, this is hard for us, and it's really tough, and it's that emotion, it's that heartache. But
hey, we read that piece just a few days ago. Like, the United States is okay with death. We're okay with it. We're okay with mass shootings. We're okay with mass COVID death. We do not care.
The healthcare workers, these doctors, these nurses.
I saw enough is enough trending on Twitter. Is it? Is it really?
The last thing that
I don't see no straw breaking the camel's back here.
Has updated us, and they've been updating on their social media platforms as they've been.
That's why we're gonna listen to what President Biden has to say, but like it's gonna fucking matter.
Has been addressing that. You don't have to register for that.
That's gonna be more platitudes. Oh, I can work with the Republicans. We're gonna try to get some kind of legislation passed. Yes, he shot his grandma. That's the word. Like, we don't have that confirmed, apparently.
That was supposed to take place here at the hospital. That has since been canceled. But we haven't heard anything else, and I have reached out to them to see if there's any latest update in terms of total count of how many patients we do have here right now at the hospital. That's something that I'm not aware of. But I even had a viewer come up and told me, you know, Henry, this hospital is fairly new. It's only about a couple of years old in terms of this building that we're looking at. But they said that, you know, if there were something to happen here, they're going to get the best care here from these doctors and from these nurses here. The sad part about it is that, as I've mentioned, is that they're treating children. They're treating, you know, their loved ones, perhaps family members, friends of family members that they grew up with, as this elementary is not far away from here, and especially with the new...
And I love how the right loves to bitch about crime constantly, but for some reason mass shootings just, they don't matter to them.
And a lot of different heartache, but again,
why are you blaming the gun?
And I keep
the
repeating,
fuck?
they just ask for prayers, and they say that through this tragedy, through this unthinkable time, unimaginable time, they're going.
Flash, that's a very good point.
All right, Henry, thank you. And of course,
just passing the simple legislation, which was at one time backed by the NRA and Ronald Reagan, that's now some kind of fucking hardcore leftist gun grab, according to these people.
As so many people, like Henry said, pulling together for the community of Uvalde. Just doing a quick scroll on Facebook, Southwest ISD. We stand with Uvalde ISD. Uvalde.
Don't forget, this is also an election night. We're going to be covering
sending out their thoughts and prayers.
Some of the races. It should have been a celebration in Texas with Jessica Cisneros hopefully unseating Henry Cuellar, but
offer any kind of support possible from the federal government. This
obviously overshadowed by the other events in Texas today.
He was flying today and placed the call.
Cisneros is up by a commanding lead as of right now, but there's still only like 35% of the vote in.
Going to pull himself together, and he will be addressing.
Yeah, it's closed. There is 68% of the vote in now. Cisneros up by about 3 percentage points.
In remembrance of those victims.
Still pretty significant.
There in Uvalde and all of those at Robb Elementary School.
Yes. And we've seen
preliminary results in the Alabama Senate race. Katie Britt.
Our area. And across
currently up over Bo Brooks, but there is like less than a percentage of precincts reporting.
You know, the superintendent, Dr. Hal Harrell, did say it was a tragic, senseless event that happened today, and he was totally heartbroken. Again, Robb's staff is to report to the.
I'm heartbroken. I had a.
The school is still a very active investigation.
I had a meeting with a client today.
Is on hold. It will not be happening till a later day. Now,
I got off of that video chat with my client where I have to take my right wingers and morons flag down. I got off that video chat, and that's when I saw the news, and I just went and laid down. I took a nap with like socks curled up next to me, and I just like I couldn't do it. I couldn't fucking do it.
Uvalde.
A lot of people also showing up.
Armed with my opinions. Thank you for being a freaking follower. We're usually having a lot more fun around here, but this is not a fun kind of night.
As the Church of Christ.
And as we've been saying, prayer.
I even have a funny graphic just for this occasion. I say, remember kids, shoot up drugs, not schools. But ain't nobody heeding my advice, apparently. We are currently awaiting comments from President Joe Biden, and we'll do some election coverage. Herschel Walker declared the winner in the Georgia Senate primary. No surprise, Kemp is up over Purdue by a significant margin in Georgia. You have results trickling in out of Texas, where Cisneros is up by about 3 percentage points. God, you're an idiot. I tell you what, you're gonna get fucking banned just for being that fucking stupid. I don't usually do this, but like, that's idiotic. So, bye-bye. But hey, if you want to call in and say some stupid shit and let me mock you, you can. My phone lines are open. 917-830-4359, or you can hit Bang Discord. And we'll let you speak. Fucking right-wing moron coming in here talking about how it's a staged shooting. 18 babies are dead. And your dumb ass comes in here calling it a staged shooting. You take your Alex Jones bullshit somewhere else. I do not have the tolerance for you tonight. And usually I let you dumb fucks go on as long as you want. Fucking idiot. This is not the night to fuck with me. But hey, as I said, call in. We'll mock your dumb ass. We'll mock your idiotic ideas. I assure you, you're a fucking idiot. The callousness. Say it's a staged shooting, and the Democrats are doing it for political gain. The fuck kind of warped world do you live in? This is why nothing is ever going to change in this goddamn country. Because of people like that asshole. Fuck. I've been in such a good mood. I'm sorry. I'm sorry for losing my temper. I'm sorry for being emotional tonight. Still awaiting comments from President Joe Biden. He ain't gonna say fucking shit. Gonna mock his dumb ass when he walks out. Fuck. Brian Kemp declared the victor in the Georgia governor's primary by a large margin. You think I sound like a normal, rational adult? Is that what you're saying? Oh, you're telling me this is what a normal, rational adult, this is how they would respond to the situation? I see what you're saying. I think. But I still feel the need to do my job, and I've covered tragedy the entire time I've been doing news. But like, I'm glad I'm on this platform where I can show emotion now. I don't have to be like these reporters and be professional when it comes to something like this. Herschel Walker, projected winner. The Republican primary Senate race in Georgia. Now, here's the thing. It was primary day in my state as well. I did not vote today. There was no Democratic race for me to vote in. And I looked over the races, and is there a subversive vote that I can make in the, because we have an open primary, I can go request a Republican ballot. But I didn't, like, there's no subversive vote that I could make. There's like no Republican in like the Senate race that I would prefer over another Republican. So I didn't walk down and vote today. So, but don't think that I did not weigh my options. We are still awaiting remarks from President Joe Biden on today's mass shooting. See, they are taking the live shot of the podium at the White House. If he's at the is he back at the White House? He was in Asia, but I don't know if he is back in the U.S. as of today. They had to wake him up. Old Sleepy Joe over there. I don't blame him. As I said, I heard the news after I had a video conference with the client. I just went and laid down and not say like, you know, an afternoon nap is not unusual for me, but just like, fuck. I had other shit I needed to do, but like, I can go lay down. Socks come curled up next to me and fucking... I couldn't do it. A horrible day in mass shooting USA. So we will be hearing from Biden at any moment, and then we're going to go to election coverage. Here you see one of his staff members putting his remarks on the podium. Yeah, I'm not. This doesn't look like a room in the White House I'm familiar with, so I'm thinking he's not at the White House. Got a photo bomb by this dude down here in the corner. Let's hear what the local news in San Antonio is saying right now.
It was a Border Patrol agent who actually was just responding. He heard it come over his radio, and
so he was on Air Force One when the shooting happened. Okay.
He said, you know, they said he approached, he saw the shooter who was, you know, kind of
back. I figured he was either back or on his way back.
He fired, killing Salvador Ramos, that 18-year-old shooter who did enter with a long rifle, which we heard from DPS. They did confirm that.
Yes. I think his overseas trip is over, RB. That's why I think he's back in the U.S.
President Biden and his wife, Dr. Jill Biden.
Here we go. It's not going to be anything of substance, but let's listen to what he has to say.
Good evening, fellow Americans.
It's not a good evening.
I had hoped when I became president, I would not have to do this again. Another massacre. Uvalde, Texas. An elementary school. Beautiful, innocent, second, third, fourth graders. And how many scores of little children who witnessed what happened see their friends die as if they're on a battlefield, for God's sake. They'll live with it the rest of their lives. There's a lot we don't know yet. There's a lot we do know. The parents who will never see their child again, never have them jump in bed and cuddle with them. Parents who will never be the same. To lose a child is like having a piece of your soul ripped away. There's a hollowness in your chest. You feel like you're being sucked into it.
I don't doubt that this is genuine.
You're never going to be able to get out.
And he knows the loss of a child.
It's never quite the same. It's a feeling shared by the siblings and the grandparents and the family members and the community that's left behind. Scripture says, Jill and I have talked about this in different contexts.
Here you go. Here's your thoughts and prayers.
The Lord is near to the brokenhearted.
Peter, are you an idiot?
Saves the crushed in spirit.
Ain't a goddamn person saying we need to ban guns.
So tonight, I ask the nation to pray for them, and give the parents and siblings the strength in the darkness they feel right now. As a nation, we have to ask, when in God's name are we going to stand up to the gun lobby? When in God's name we do what we all know in our gut needs to be done?
No way to prevent this, says only nation where this happens regularly.
3,448 days, 10 years since I stood up at a high school in Connecticut, a grade school in Connecticut, or another gunman.
Yeah, he didn't say that, Skeeter. You're a dumb fuck. Apparently that's what you heard, even though those weren't the words coming out of his mouth, because right-wingers are fucking morons.
Gunfires reported on school grounds. Marjorie Stoneman Douglas.
You're the idiot.
Parkland, Florida. Santa Fe High School in Texas. Oxford High School in Michigan. The list goes on, and the list grows when it includes mass shootings at places like movie theaters, houses of worship, as we saw just 10 days ago to
Go fuck yourself.
New York. I am sick and tired of it. We have to act. And don't tell me we can't have an impact on this carnage. I spent my career as a senator and a vice president working to pass common sense gun laws. We can and won't prevent every tragedy, but we know they work and have positive impact. When we passed the assault weapons ban, mass shootings went down. When the law expired, mass shootings tripled.
Yep.
The idea that an 18-year-old kid...
A law once supported by the NRA and by Ronald Reagan.
It's just wrong. What in God's name do you need an assault weapon for except to kill someone? Deer aren't running through the forest with Kevlar vests on, for God's sake. It's just sick. And the gun manufacturers have spent 2 decades aggressively marketing assault weapons, which make them the most...
That's it. That's it.
For God's sake, we have to have the courage to stand up to the industry. Here's what else I know.
Nobody's wanting to ban guns, but nobody's also following my suggestion of banning the commercial sale and manufacture of guns.
A trip from
Don't even have to change a law. Don't have to amend the Constitution to do that.
And I learned of this while I was on the aircraft. And what struck me on that 17-hour flight, what struck me was these kinds of mass shootings rarely happen anywhere else in the world. Why?
No way to prevent this, says only nation where this regularly happens.
Problems. They have domestic disputes in other countries. They have people who are lost. But these kinds of mass shootings never happen with the kind of frequency they happen in America. Why? Why are we willing to live with this carnage? Why do we keep letting this happen? Where in God's name is our backbone?
Ida, I wholeheartedly agree.
It's time to turn this pain into action for every parent, for every citizen in this country.
Long past time.
Clear to every elected official in this country. It's time to act. It's time for those who obstruct or delay or block the common sense gun laws. We need to let you know that we will not forget. We can do so much more. We have to do more.
And here's the thing, is even if you were to pass something, the Supreme Court is going to strike it down. This Supreme Court will strike it down.
Lying in bed.
This goes back to all the problems in this country right now. We got to do something about the Supreme Court.
Will I be able to sleep again? What do I say to my other children? What happens tomorrow?
Hey, I am not anti-gun. And once again, my proposal does not require repealing the Second Amendment.
Save those crushed in spirit, because they're going to need a lot of help, a lot of our prayers. God love you.
Will you go to Texas, sir? Sir, will you go to Texas?
I assume he will indeed be in Texas later this week or at the beginning of next week. Fuck your prayers,
President
indeed.
Biden addressing the nation after the massacre today at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde. 18 children and a teacher killed.
Also killed, the suspect and a woman believed to be his grandmother. Prayer vigils are underway in Uvalde at this hour.
We have crews in Uvalde at those services and the hospital where 13 wounded children were taken. We will have a complete wrap-up for you tonight on Eyewitness News at 10. We now return you to programming.
And she's returning you to your normal, regularly scheduled Troll Patrol programming. I think we've gotten all the election rundown. Herschel Walker winning in Georgia. Kemp winning in the governor's race in Georgia. Cisneros currently up on Cuellar. As the last time I checked, that was before the Biden speech. We should get the update here. Oz has not won yet. There is a whole legal dispute about counting ballots in Pennsylvania.
He talked about 10 years of
help me, Peter Parker,
inaction on changes in gun laws. He was speaking as somebody who has fought very hard and been defeated in that effort, only to see yet another mass shooting. I mean, I think all of us, when we first heard this news today, could not quite believe it. We're still trying to get
Marjorie Taylor Greene looks like she's going to win her primary.
And suddenly we have...
Now we're moving to Texas, where we are interested.
And the question that he raised that I thought was important was, why is this something that happens with frequency in this country, but not frequency in other countries? And what is it about...
Oh, all he did was read a Onion headline. Jesus.
And America's values that...
Cisneros still up by about 3 percentage points. I know my graphics are over it right now. Cisneros up by about 3 percentage points on Cuellar. About 70% of the vote counted.
But stop it from happening so often.
Britt up on Durant now instead of Brooks, but still only 1% of the votes counted in the Alabama Senate race.
Fury to try to kickstart something in the heart of the American people.
Bill Strong almost certainly going to win in Alabama's 5th congressional district. That's Mo Brooks' old seat.
That the public takes
Huckabee Sanders looks like she's going to cruise to victory in the Arkansas governor's race.
But not brought about. Are quite popular, and yet in one way or another,
Herschel Walker, the projected winner of the primary for the Senate seat,
shooting like this, but it does not turn into
in Georgia.
Sustained political mobilization, and I think that's the gap that we've seen.
Raphael Warnock, I don't know that he wasn't running unopposed.
Our colleague Devlin Barrett is reporting that the gunman bought his weapon immediately after his 18th birthday, which was just last week. That's according to a person briefed on the investigation's early findings.
Goddamn.
The president talking about the fact that an 18-year-old can go into a gun store and buy. President Biden said 2 assault weapons is just wrong. And he has been very involved in this assault weapons ban over the decades in his career. As he talked
Can't drink, but you can go buy a deadly weapon. Jesus fucking Christ.
Barack Obama's vice president during Sandy Hook. And now he's facing this as president.
Yes, he led that effort after Sandy Hook. President Obama tasked him to lead the effort to try to put through gun laws that would tighten some of the restrictions that don't exist today. There was a bipartisan...
I said Herschel Walker, indeed. Herschel Walker is the nominee
Mansion of West Virginia
for the GOP in the Georgia primary. Yes, that Herschel Walker.
It went down because
the former football player whose fucking kid says some dumbass shit on TikTok.
10 years, Libby, is that not only have we had a continuation of these.
So we're going to check back in with the election results here at the end of the show, as we always do, kind of run down what's going on with the election. Yes, Christian Walker, that dumb fuck. So we run down what's going on, what to watch out for. We'll come back, and hopefully by the time we cover the news of the day, we'll have a clearer picture, especially when it comes to Texas's congressional race between Cisneros and Henry Cuellar. Looks like Marjorie Taylor Greene easily cruising to victory. The whole fucking show is content warning tonight. This Troll Patrol laid out here tonight is just the quintessential encapsulation of what the United States is. Shootings, police abuse, and shitty ass election results. That's what this show is. Jackson police say a prank gone wrong that killed a teenager was a justifiable homicide. Apparently, a kid was trying to play a prank on another kid and got his ass shot.
That teen who shot his friend in that prank involving a toy gun and a ski mask hasn't been charged. Police, though, say that could change.
What a sad story.
One Jackson teenager shot and killed over the weekend after police say he pointed a toy gun at another teen who fired back using a real weapon. Authorities say it was a prank gone wrong.
That person who shot back, thinking that was a real gun. I mean, I think anybody in that situation would have did the same thing.
According to JPD, 16-year-old Joshua Davis shot and killed 15-year-old Christopher Patton.
Why did he have a gun to begin with? What the fuck? Jesus!
At a house Saturday evening. Officers say it happened after Patton, wearing a ski mask, got out of his car with a toy water gun that looked like an assault rifle and pointed it at Davis. They say Davis had a real gun. He fired the weapon once, striking Patton in the chest. One mom reacting to the tragedy.
As a parent, I always advise...
Stupid! All this is stupid! Yeah, don't be playing like that. Don't do pranks like that.
Classified the shooting as a justifiable homicide. Davis is facing no charges, but that could change. Detectives are still questioning witnesses, including 2 teenage passengers in Patton's car, to determine if there was any negligence.
A 16-year-old shouldn't be allowed to own a gun as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, was this in Florida? Oh, Jackson, Mississippi. Jacksonville, Florida, Jackson, Mississippi.
How he even got a weapon, but it's just...
Yes!
This world is so crazy. I just don't...
Locked in a gun safe, yes!
The mark on their kids having these guns.
And tonight we're learning that Patton was a 10th grader at Callaway High School. JPS saying they are saddened and that there are...
I'm just saying your kid probably shouldn't have had a gun. I know Raymond pretty well.
Of who they call one of their...
He should not be armed. Even now, he should not be armed.
That gun was not stolen, according to JPD. If they decide not to charge Davis, the final outcome of the investigation could be sent to the DA's office, and a final decision on charges will be in the hands of a grand jury.
I don't trust Raymond's trigger finger, considering I opened the fucking door last weekend. And he just automatically put his fists up. Fucking 20 feet away from me. The dude's like, what the fuck? I didn't know the door was open. I don't know. And also the fact that we were waiting on Biden's comments completely knocked everything out of order that I was going to do tonight. Be ready. Yeah, oh God. And they had to clarify the black kid had a gun that was not stolen. Jesus. This is the quintessential United States summation show. That is exactly what this is. Stacey Abrams is indeed going to face off against Brian Kemp for a second time in Georgia. Ron DeSantis is apparently triggered by this. DeSantis says a Cold War coming between Florida and Georgia if Stacey Abrams is elected governor. What the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck does that even mean? Florida Governor Ron DeSantis on Friday warned of a coming Cold War between Florida and Georgia if Democratic candidate Stacey Abrams wins the gubernatorial election in the latter state. During a press conference in Gulf County, located in northwest Florida, DeSantis referenced the ongoing Masters Golf Tournament in Georgia, which apparently, John Daly, the big fat dude, smoked 26 cigarettes or something in one round of 18? And demolished 6 beers or something like that. This is America. During a press conference in Gulf County, located in northwest Florida, DeSantis referenced the ongoing Masters Golf Tournament in Georgia, using it as an apparent segue into discussing the state's elections. DeSantis said he really appreciates our Georgians, but that voters would have to take care of the 2022 election to prevent Abrams from winning. If Stacey Abrams is elected governor of Georgia, I just want to be honest that there will be a Cold War between Florida and Georgia. I can't have former Cuban communist leader Raul Castro to my south and Abrams to my north. That would be a disaster, so I hope you guys take care of that and we'll end up in good shape. Oh, Governor DeSantis is indeed an asshole. Fucking shit. He's just fucking posturing for the right-wing crowd, which is exactly what Elon Musk is doing. Elon says apparently he has a big surprise for the midterm elections. Chief executive of Tesla recently decided that meddling in political affairs was no longer taboo. The billionaire has thus redefined the CEO's role, just as governments, think Florida with Disney and the Don't Say Gay bill, are trying to force companies to remain neutral on social issues. No, they don't want companies to remain neutral. They want them to take their side. Republicans are trying to force companies to take their side. Musk's political offensive is symbolized by the $44 billion bid he launched on April 14th to acquire Twitter. By the way, he has apparently lost about $69 billion. Nice. Days earlier, he disclosed a 9.2% stake in the micro-blogging website. Tech tycoon, Twitter is the de facto Times Square of our time. I don't think they mean Times Square, do they? They mean public square. By taking control, Musk says he hopes to restore free speech to the site, something he says the platform's management has improperly restricted, which is just fucking stupid. Promised to reinstate to the site former President Donald Trump, who had been banned from the social media network after the events of January 6th. The billionaire has declared that any remark will be admitted on the site up to the limits of the law of the country in which the remark was made. The decision has provoked many in the Democratic Party as well as prominent personalities like Bill Gates, the co-founder of Microsoft. Critics say that if this is going to be Twitter's benchmark under Musk, the site will enable hate speech, bullying, and misinformation. It already does. I assume one of the reasons why Elon, besides putting his foot in his mouth and being a fucking sick perv, one of the reasons why Elon Musk has lost so much money is because stocks have been taking a tumble. But apparently the futures rose following Tuesday's losses in the NASDAQ. U.S. stock futures rose on Tuesday after the NASDAQ composite dropped during the regular session following a warning of slowing growth from social media company Snap that hurt the tech-heavy index. Jones Industrial Average Futures rose 111 points, or 0.4%. The S&P 500 and the NASDAQ 100 futures climbed 0.5% and 0.7%, respectively. Nordstrom shares jumped more than 10% in extended trading after the retailer surpassed sales expectations and raised its full-year outlook. The retailer experienced a surge in demand from shoppers refreshing their closets for long-awaited occasions. Nasdaq Composite fell 2.4% during regular trading, while the S&P 500 slid 0.8%. Dow rose by 0.2% in a late-day reversal, despite falling as much as 1.6% earlier in the session. I'd play this video, but as if I'm going to even understand what the fuck they're talking about. It's not Jim Cramer, so it's not going to be fun. By the way, today is the anniversary of George Floyd's death. So let's talk about police reform from KARE 11. Talking about Biden's remarks earlier today about police reform.
Is expected to issue an executive order to reform federal policing tomorrow. That's according to the New York Times.
This comes 2 years to the day after George Floyd's murder. Heidi Wigdahl joins us with what we know about this order. Heidi?
Lauren and Julie, George Floyd's murder sparked a slew of reforms. Now the Times is reporting the president is expected to direct all federal agencies to revise their use of force policies, create a national registry of officers fired for misconduct, institute grants encouraging state and local police to tighten their restrictions on chokeholds and no-knock warrants, and restrict transfers of most military equipment to law enforcement agencies.
Long overdue on that one. Also, Vice has been doing a fantastic job of exposing the Louisville Metro Police Department in Louisville, Kentucky. The police department that killed Breonna Taylor. I highly recommend you watch their documentaries on their cops sexually abusing suspects and informants. I highly recommend you watch their other piece on how cops were stealing.
And the Justice Department have been working on the order since last year when a bill to overhaul policing failed in the Senate. But the Times is reporting the president's executive order will be more limited than that bill. The report also said Floyd's family is expected to be at tomorrow's signing. We've reached out to the family and are waiting to hear back. Lauren.
Heidi, thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. I do not give a shit about Amber Heard. So I still stick by my guns that he had almost 20 years on her. One of the most famous actors in the world. There's a power dynamic at play there. Let's talk about George W. Bush. He's been in the news a lot here recently for some fucking reason. For the weekend, he made the remarks that basically implicated his role in an unjust war in Iraq. Now we're finding out that ISIS was plotting to assassinate George W. Bush in Dallas. And I really want to say something, but I'm afraid it might get the Secret Service knocking on my door. So, the FBI used 2 confidential informants and surveillance of the alleged plotters' WhatsApp reveal plans to smuggle assassins into the U.S. to murder the former president, according to a search warrant application discovered by Forbes. Alleged ISIS operative in the U.S. was plotting to kill George W. Bush, going so far as to travel to Dallas in November. We're talking now. Take video around the former president's home and recruiting help from a team of compatriots he hoped to smuggle into the country over the Mexican border, according to an FBI search warrant application filed March 23rd and unsealed this week in the Southern District of Ohio. The FBI said it uncovered the scheme through the work of 2 confidential informants and surveillance of the alleged plotters' account on the Meta-owned WhatsApp messaging platform. The alleged ISIS operative based in Columbus, Ohio, said he wanted to assassinate Bush because he felt the former president was responsible for killing many Iraqis and breaking apart the country after the U.S. military invaded the country in 2003. Not like he don't have a point. It's not like you don't have a fucking point. Don't condone violence. I don't condone the war that fucking Bush started. Case shows how federal investigators continue to monitor threats from ISIS even as the group has been severely weakened by American intelligence and military operations in recent years. It also shows how the FBI, despite its claims of being prevented from investigating major crimes because of Meta and other tech providers' use of encryption, has been able to work around WhatsApp security by using old-school policing and sourcing of informants and tracking the metadata they can get from the messaging company. That's a grudge. Well, I mean, the country is still shit because of what George W. Bush did. Content warning again, guys. This one's gonna make you sick. Absolutely going to make you sick. Indiana pastor admits adultery. Neglects to mention that he was raping a 16-year-old girl. Now, the HuffPost piece does not put it as bluntly as I did. After the congregation applauded Pastor John Lowe's confession, a woman spoke, saying, "I was just 16 when you took my virginity on your office floor. Do you remember that?" Whoa! Whoa! You, sir, are a piece of shit. In Warsaw, Indiana, an Indiana pastor who confessed to adultery years ago with a teenager publicly informed his congregation last weekend after church leaders confronted him, the church said on Tuesday. John Lowe II has resigned. New Life Christian Church and World Outreach in Warsaw said in a statement on its website. 5-year-old Lowe told church members Sunday that he had committed adultery and wanted their forgiveness. Later, a woman stepped to the microphone and said that the pastor had a sexual relationship with her when she was 16. According to the video, where's the fucking video? No, I don't even want to play that. I don't want to hear it. Said the lies and the manipulation have to stop. You guys know what I always say. If you want to protect children, keep them as far away from churches as you can. The church said that leaders confronted Lowe recently after the woman told others about a long-held secret. The church said the sexual conduct continued into her 20s. We are hurting and broken for a woman who has lovingly attended and served in the church for many years, as well as for her husband and family. It is our deepest prayer and commitment to love, support, and encourage and help her through a process of healing in any way in which we are able. The church said none of this was previously known by staff. No one answered the phone at the church on Tuesday. TV stations reported that the I'm fucking this one up. Pascoco County prosecutors investigating Daniel Hampton's office declined to comment on Tuesday. I will not use the Bible to defend, protect, deflect my past sin, Lowe told his congregation. I have no defense. I committed the adultery. To say it plainly, I didn't make a mistake. I sinned. You are a sexual predator, sir. You are a sexual predator. And I can't believe you've still been allowed to be around children for 20 fucking years. As I said, this is the quintessential encapsulation of the United States edition of the Troll Patrol. Oh, let's talk about some climate change now. Oh, video out of Texas from yesterday shows an insane tornado. We're going to watch some storm chaser video here. God damn, look at the size of that thing. Why are there so many cars driving towards it? Doesn't seem like, I understand the storm chasers doing this. That's what they fucking do. If I saw that shit, I'm like, I am turning around. We'll go do something back here. We are still some no Mexican pizza having asses. Not that we've tried or anything, but we are still some no Mexican pizza having. But apparently, Lord said that we dodged a bullet. Lord called it a mess. He didn't have any tomatoes. On his Mexican pizza. Oh, you'll go through the tornado to get a Taco Bell Mexican pizza. I see what you're saying. Tornadoes are not the only thing climate change is impacting that Texas is going to have to worry about. NOAA is predicting as many as 6 major hurricanes. The upcoming Atlantic hurricane season is likely to be unusually active, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's Hurricane Season Outlook released today. Hurricanes are nature's most destructive storms, and if this forecast proves accurate, this would be the 7th straight year of above-average activity. The past 2 hurricane seasons both exhausted the list of 21 storm names, which was unprecedented. The 2020 season was the most active on record, forecasting a 65% chance that the upcoming hurricane season will be above average, with a 25% chance of near normal activity and just a 10% chance of below normal tropical cyclone numbers. In terms of the number of storms, the agency is predicting a 70% chance of 14 to 21 named storms. Of these, 6 to 10 would become hurricanes, and of these, 3 to 6 would intensify into major hurricanes of Category 3 or greater. Typical Atlantic hurricane season has 14 named storms, 7 hurricanes, and 3 major hurricanes, according to the National Hurricane Center. It is basing its forecast on several factors, including sea surface temperatures in the North Atlantic Ocean basin and the presence of a La Niña event in the tropical Pacific Ocean. La Niña is characterized by cooler than average waters near the equator, and it can reduce the winds in the middle and upper atmosphere all the way to the Atlantic. These weaker winds can encourage hurricane development by reducing wind shear. Climate studies show that increasing ocean and air temperatures are leading to wetter, stronger hurricanes, and that rapidly intensifying storms such as Hurricane Ida last year are more likely today than just a few decades ago. Are we going to do anything about climate change? Fuck no. Are we going to do anything about the gun violence in this country? Fuck no. Are we going to do anything about wealth inequality? Fuck no. Biden was elected to make sure nothing would fundamentally change. And it ain't going to. Oh, God. Man, Bear Pig was real. And God, I respect the hell out of Matt and Trey for correcting themselves on that. Because that was always one of the things that I always hated about South Park, was like, back then, it was clear that climate change was real. And they mocked it. And they have since did an episode of South Park where they're like, Man, Bear Pig was real. And then there's people that are seeing Man Bear Pig rip people apart, and they're still denying that Man Bear Pig is real. It's a Man Bear Pig, it's half man, half bear pig. No, it's half man bear and half pig. Ted Cruz has his own podcast, and on it, the Texas senator spews his unwanted takes on a range of pressing issues, especially including actor Pete Davidson's sex appeal and hot women. The View had some words for... Oh, I didn't hit the content warning. We're going to see Ted Cruz's fucking ugly face.
I'm just going to say, Heidi Cruz, this is 2. Okay? This is the second time he's just not paid any attention to what you might be feeling. Senator Ted.
Second time! I assure you, he has never cared about that woman's feelings, ever!
Ted Cruz has a podcast for some reason, and his latest episode revealed a little more than we needed to know about his feelings on some issues. Let's take a look.
Pete Davidson.
Well, she said for some reason, but like, he's a white male, so of course he has a podcast. That's just a thing that happens. By the way, do not forget to listen to the Troll Patrol podcast version of this show. Here's a link to Anchor, where this white male also has his podcast.
Pete Davidson. All right, how come that dude gets all of these like hot women?
Because of toxic femininity, Senator. That is the evidence that something has gone wrong.
Pete Davidson was dating Kate Beckinsale. I mean, you're talking underworld. You're talking like super hot vampire in black leather trench coat. And you're like, really? The SNL dude? Like, wow.
Yeah.
This gives me the EBGBs. Can I just tell you?
Yeah.
So
Me too, Ann.
Okay, so he might want to say, how come that dude on SNL? I want to know, how come that dude is a U.S. senator and is doing a podcast and spends so much time trolling on Twitter? I mean, does he think that he's going to lead by being a social media influencer? Yeah. And I agree with you.
That's what the Republicans have.
This is 2.
To his wife. It's his daughter.
Because he didn't defend her when you know who went after her.
Did
defend.
Well, I assume Ted Cruz is also into like Ariana Grande and Kim Kardashian. I will tell you why. As somebody who is not the best looking guy, who gets on stage and does stand-up comedy with confidence and is actually funny sometimes, I don't know how I've hooked up with some of the women I have. Some of the guys I have. Shit. You know, just being funny and being confident and being talented. Just saying. Something Ted Cruz will never know anything about.
Kim Kardashian, when there was some stuff going back and forth between she and Kanye. That does distinguish him from Ted Cruz, who has yet to defend his wife against that sort of thing.
I just want to say he did say, you're a sniveling coward and leave Heidi the hell alone. He did say that.
Oh.
And then what happened? And then he said, he tweeted, Donald, real men don't attack women. Your wife is lovely and Heidi is the lovely.
And available at a particular time. Yes, Toad, yes.
I don't understand why he is talking about a woman's looks.
Right.
I don't understand why he has a podcast, quite frankly.
Why is that ugly asshole talking about somebody else's looks with Michael Knowles, who is also an ugly ass?
Talking about
anybody can have a podcast.
I don't understand why he's fantasizing about going to Cancun with Kate Beckinsale.
Yeah.
Because that's really at night. He's got these fantasies of her in like this leathers and all the S&M things going on. You know, he's
oh, for the love of God, bleach my mind.
By the way,
I would like to.
Yes, Anna. Yes.
Pete Davidson is because he is funny.
He's funny.
Ted Cruz, you're funny because people laugh at you. Pete Davidson, laughing with him. Okay?
And he's probably, and Pete Davidson is, given how enamored women become of him, is probably not a hypocritical jerk.
No, well,
So that
by
you
the
might
way,
want to start with that.
By the way, Ted
He
Cruz
seems pretty cool.
advocated for criminalizing abortion. I don't think that that's a turn on to women, Teddy.
Yeah.
Or is his name Raphael? What is it?
That was a good segment. I enjoyed that. All right, that's it for the news. Let's go back to Washington Post here. Check in on elections. Oh, this isn't live. Live shot go. Like we're doing the Alabama Senate race now.
That was an example of Trump following, not leading the MAGA movement. Mastriano was going to win, and Trump felt like Dr. Oz might end up losing that Pennsylvania primary. It's still too close to call. And so he wanted to head.
Also, last night, I think I implied that George P. Bush, who we're going to hear about losing, I think I implied that George P. Bush was George W.'s son, which I thought was the truth. It's not. He's Jeb's son. He's Jeb's son. I just assumed Texas, George W., and the fact that, Trump went so hard on Jeb. And George P. Bush is apparently a hardcore Trumper. Yes, P.
Carmela Boykin, who's been following Governor Brian Kemp's campaign. Carmela, talk to us.
It looks like Del Strong will replace Bo Brooks, but they're still very early in the counting.
Right now by supporter Brett Days. And Brett, how do you feel now knowing that Governor Kemp has been declared the winner?
Yeah, it's a phenomenal feeling. We've won by phenomenal numbers tonight, obviously. It was a very decisive victory. I've been to quite a few of these parties for multiple candidates, and this is the quickest one that I've ever seen called. So that just tells you something about Georgia voters. They're proud of their governor.
Stacey Abrams was called right off the bat. George Pisford Bush. Love it.
And now we know that
that's his name from now on. George Pisford Bush.
Governor Kemp will do in those elections.
Well, honestly, I think we're going to fare very well.
Del Strong does have a little boy haircut.
Governor Kemp has defeated, quite a big political adversary in that.
Also, he's an asshole. I know him personally.
Stacey Abrams likes to go out on stage to Democratic supporters and say that Georgia's the best state to do business in, however, we're the worst state to live in. And I can tell you right now that most Georgians don't believe that. And I know that Governor Kemp does believe that we are the best state to live in. So I think we're going to fare very well. I know a lot of people think that, this is going to be some blue wave or whatever the case may be. But I know that Republicans are going to come out on top in this midterm election, especially the way things have been going.
Brett Days, thank you so much. Appreciate your time. Now, we've also heard from former Vice President Mike Pence on his thoughts about defeating Stacey Abrams. He says that that's one of
This is Del Strong's little boy haircut.
And I'm here because Brian Kemp is the only...
Yeah, exactly. Even this kid gets named after his brother.
...who has already...
But I would assume it's actually named after his grandfather, right?
She knows it or not.
George H.W. Bush. Yep. P is for Prescott.
Abrams can never be governor.
I don't know that for a fact, but I'm assuming.
And as you heard, both Pence and Kemp are...
George Prescott Bush is an American politician.
Will never become the governor of Georgia and also will never become president of the United States. Libby?
All right, thank you so much, Carmela Boykin.
You know who's never going to be president of the United States? Mike fucking Pence. You could have, Mike Pence. You could have been president for about a month, dude. Or what, 15 days, 14 days. You could have been president. You could have been president. You didn't do the right thing. You stupid fuck. Your chance to be president is long gone. You could have done the right thing. You could have convinced the cabinet to invoke the 25th Amendment. You could have helped lead a coalition in the Senate to convict him. I know the trial took place after he was already out of office, but you could have been president. You could have been president, Mike Pence, for a few days at least.
Party stand up.
You ain't never going to be president.
Former president
for the first time since
Stacey Abrams may very well be president one day.
After the January 6th insurrection, the Republican Governors Association came out strongly against a number of the president.
Ooh, it is tightened up. Cisneros still up on Cuellar with 70% of the vote counted. It is about a percentage point separating them, about a point and a half.
Conservative groups come out against the president. You know, the
Katie
president.
Britt up in the Alabama Senate race over Mo Brooks now.
Races, insurance commissioner, attorney general, maybe secretary of state in Georgia. And I think what all of this is surfacing is something you got at, that there is concern that the president has been looking too much at his own.
My internet has completely taken a shit. I'm sorry, guys.
And Republican voters are
like
not.
it was bouncing back and forth, but now it's like it's barely hanging on. I don't know what the fuck is going on.
We're still going to have a lot of the 2020 election related.
I don't know what's up with my internet. It's crapping out. Yes, go Jessica Cisneros. That's the race that I was really interested in. But since my internet is crapping out, and I'm also like, I'm stressed. I'm not in a good mental headspace because of the shooting. I'm gonna go ahead and call it a night, guys. I'm not gonna stick with you through the. I would have stuck with you through the calling of the Cisneros race. If it gets called tonight, it is gonna be a close one probably. So it might very well not get called tonight. That was the one I was. Oh, and Sparkles is getting Taco Bell ads on the Twitch. Well, I tell you what, I'm getting ready to wrap it up. You want to go get a Mexican pizza? I'm hungry. Let's go do it.